oh boy, just when you think that this case can't get any weirder, can't get any out of this world, new letters from Christopher somehow have been taken and shown that Chris is not only blaming Nicole, but he's blaming all women, and he's looking for his new wife. Yeah, just wait. We're going to watch all of this right now. I haven't watched it, but I've looked at the comments, and boy, oh boy, people are pissed. So grab a chair, get comfortable. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel by hitting that white bar icon down at the bottom right. Hit that bar icon next to it. So when I do post videos like this one, you guys will get that little ring notification that I posted that video. And then you guys can watch, comment, like, and share. And again, I thank you so much for the love and support that you guys have shown on this channel. And with that being said, we're watching News Nation. So the credit, obviously, the clip that we're about to watch is from News Nation. But I want to get into it. I want to see it. I want to know what he says and what more we can learn from Chris being in Weld County. Let's take a look.
Chris Watts has decided he is not to blame for what happened to Shanann and to Bella.
Is he crazy? He doesn't blame himself. He blames women. Or the women in his life, I presume.
And to Celeste and his unborn son.
Whoops.
The women in his life are to blame. The Daily Mail just got its hands on some letters written by Watts at the Dodge Correctional Institute. That is a maximum security prison in central Wisconsin, where he was sent. And he has been there for the last 6 years. The letters show a man determined to find anyone but himself responsible for his diabolical behavior.
I think he's trying to find any little loophole that he could possibly find to try to get himself out. And now he's going to sit there and be like, oh, it wasn't me. It was Nicole and the women in my life.
He actually addressed his letters to God, zip code unknown. And he first unloads on his mistress, Nicole Kessinger, writing this. I was misled. I was tempted by a harlot. I was weak, and I allowed myself to be fooled.
You were weak, you're still weak.
By an evil woman. She led me from the path of righteousness. I know that you will deal with her someday.
Oh, dang.
She will be judged. You know my heart, Lord. I am a man after your heart. I seek your face. I allowed her to sway me.
Dang, for him to sit there and be like, oh yeah, NK will be punished by you.
FYI, Nicole Kessinger told the police that she was dating a man who told her that he was separated and divorcing.
Lies. That's all lies.
But then when his wife and children disappeared, she got very scared and she called the police immediately, leading to his arrest. But Watts doesn't stop with Nicole Kessinger.
I say he didn't get arrested because of Nicole Kessinger. He got arrested because he confessed. He didn't have any way out and so forth. So, yeah, it may be Nicole Kessinger's fault as well, but the main squeeze is Chris.
No. He unloads on other women, too, mostly unnamed women, calling them harlots and Jezebels and whores.
Ah!
And, of course, he blames his pregnant wife for being domineering and self-absorbed, suggesting
this man's gonna die. This man's he's gonna make more enemies. He's in trouble.
That she caused her own death. I think I just threw up in my mouth.
Are you kidding me? Chris is saying she caused... Chris, I'm just telling you this from... I can't say a man to a man because you're not a man, but you're going to self-delete yourself now that you said all this. You are in trouble. If you weren't in trouble already, you are self-destructing yourself.
What is weird is that he doesn't seem to have it in for all women, because plenty of his letters are addressed to female pen pals. And get this, he seems to be looking for a new wife.
So he sits there and tells all the Jezebels and all the harlots and all the W words, but then is looking and seeking for a wife? Are you crazy?
My next guest broke this story. Steve Helling is a senior reporter with the Daily Mail. He is top-notch in true crime. He's a friend of the show, and he's a good friend of mine. Steve,
Oh.
I should have called you for a drink
Come on, Steve, give us the dirt.
before you came on the air, as opposed to going for drinks after work, because I couldn't unclench my teeth while
I was saying, I see her face, and she's pissed. I guarantee the women that are watching right now, you're pissed. You want to...
reading your piece. So just start with what else you've got on what he writes about women.
Oh,
I should have warned you, first of all. Let's start there.
and second of all, how did he get all the letters? How?
Yeah.
I got my hands on these letters. I've seen a lot of his letters. I know his handwriting. I know his writing style. And the thing about Chris Watts is that he couches everything that he writes in this spiritual Christianity type of thing that isn't like any Christianity that I know, that basically he doesn't take personal responsibility.
I honestly think that this man thinks that he is a prophet. He thinks he can bend and change things because he is God's second man or second hand man, and he is the new revived, rejuvenated Chris Watts. I think the man has had too many commissary food products inside the jail or the prison. This man is self-destructing.
He was always tempted. He was always weak. Somebody was always pulling him aside, and that somebody was always a woman. She was a whore. She was a harlot. She tempted me with her soft words and with her lips. It makes me think, can you take any responsibility? What?
I was just going to say that this man can't take any responsibility for his actions, his main part in this, and more. Yet he sits there and says all these women, his mother, his wife, all controlled him, and yet he couldn't talk to them because he is a follower. He's not a leader. He's a follower. He runs to help other people, but you can help and not be a follower. But this man is a follower, and yet he's blaming the women in his life, or all women, is what he's saying.
Whatsoever for what you did. And it seems like he can't.
Turns out no. Yeah, so he says in a letter that you got your hands on, quote, "The lips of an immoral woman may be smooth, but no amount of paint on her face can disguise her evil heart." So now I guess it's the makeup's fault for what he did. But he doesn't seem to hate all women. He seems to really want a new one. What is the story about the
What happened to Anna, his girlfriend?
search for a wife? Is there anybody who's actually interested?
Well, I mean, we see this all the time. Chris Watts is not a bad-looking person. And, there's always going to
Yes, he is.
be somebody who's interested in him. And so there are women that write to him, and he writes back. He's actually very good at corresponding. And of course, a lot of the times he's just talking about, it's a lot of spiritual stuff that he talks about, a lot of Christianity, a lot of God, a lot of Jesus. But then,
Which is great and all, but you should have done that before, my dude. You're only looking to be saved and find salvation because of the act that you committed. Again, that when people go to prison, they either find God, they find the gym, or they find Mr. Hanky Pink, Mr. Guy in the next cell, or your roommate. So he found salvation at this moment.
he'll sometimes talk about himself and be like, I'm misunderstood. And, I was a good father. I was a good person until something happened, but I'm still a good person. So, it's interesting what he'll say to these women.
I was a good husband and father. Things happened, and I'm no longer a good husband and father, but I'm still a good man. Are you kidding me? This man is out of his mind.
And a lot of these women, they do fall for it. They do think, well, maybe he's changed. Maybe he's a better person than I thought he was.
Why is it that there's people that think that they can fix other people? You're not fixing Chris Watts. Chris Watts is a broken machine and needs to be thrown away into the trash receptacle and burned.
I want to pop that piece back up there. We just had it up on the screen, but I want to read it. It was this business about being a good person. I'm barfing in my mouth. He says, I was a good husband and father. Things happened. Things happened. And I am no longer a good husband and father, but I am still a good man. Is this something he wrote to someone in particular, trying to convince her that he'd be her knight in shining armor?
He wrote this to a woman. And, I really, when I read it, I thought, things happen. I mean, things happen like it starts to rain. That's something that happens. What doesn't generally just happen is that you strangle your wife, smother your children, and bury their.
It's not like you tripped and fall and did all that stuff in 2 hours and was like, oh, I did this by accident. Oh, but I'm still a good person. Like, what are you on, Chris? Like, are you crazy?
Bodies in an oil field. That's not something just happening. So it just kind of shows, even his choice of words, that none of this is his fault. He didn't do anything. It just kind of happened.
Yeah, boy, I'll say. He doesn't even acknowledge any of the evil that he committed, it seems. Thanks for watching. Go to.
Oh, have mercy. This was sent to me by a Zawokian, which I thank you very much. You know who you are. I didn't know if you wanted me to give you the credit and so forth. So, again, I didn't find this myself, but I just thought listening to this right now, I'm like, what? So you're now saying again that you didn't do any of this. The women in your life are at fault. They caused this. So you're literally saying now that your mother is partly involved by contributing to raising you and making it being you're told to or you're told what to do by your mother. I don't know about your sister, but then your wife at the time, Shanann, was very leadership role. Self-absorbed is what you called it there, Chris. And yet you couldn't sit there and communicate with your relationships with your mother, your wife, unfortunately, your mistress. And so, yet, because of all that happened and you took it in your hands to destroy your life and your families, now you want to blame it on somebody that is not yourself. Very interesting. I definitely want to know your guys' thoughts, especially the ladies. Again, please don't take this in consideration that men are all like this. We're not. Uh, we don't blame when a real man takes responsibility for his actions. And this man or this person is not a man. He is a huge, disintegrating shadow of his former self that will no longer see the freedom or light of freedom again. And I'm glad and happy to see that he is right where he needs to be and will not ever see or touch a woman again for intimacy or enjoyment. He's going to have a best friend that probably is preparing for butt stuff. And I just can't believe that this man literally blames women and his Jezebel, but again, doesn't take responsibility for what happened. So, pretty much the first confession, the second confession, he's throwing that out the door and stating it's all women's fault. Wow, Chris. Wow, I didn't think you could stoop any lower. Give it time, he'd probably do it again. Again, I thank you guys for watching. Please take care, be safe. Don't forget to comment your thoughts and your opinions down below. Again, let's make sure that it's positive. We can talk amongst each other without having drama or any fighting and so forth or bullying. And we will see you guys in the next video. Please take care, be safe, and as always, keep nerding on, and see you guys in the next video.